Hey everyone, so I just wanted to make this video to show some of you guys that have been asking a lot about how they should be going about getting into front-end web development, specifically what resources they should use and things like that. So this video is intended to show you my recommendations and my top resources that I would use for those of you that are looking to get into it, that are freshly new to front-end development. When I was first starting, I was always scrambling to find the best resource or tutorial or course to see, what was the best and what I was going to learn most from, and how fast I could get through it. Speed was always the key thing for me, and I slowly realized that the slower the better. You're gonna see a lot of these articles and posts from people that they became a front-end developer in 6 months, 3 months, under a year, something like that, where they give these time frames that I applaud them. That's amazing that they can get those jobs in that amount of time. But not everyone's the same. Not everyone learns at a different pace. So don't get discouraged if you can't learn at how to be a front-end developer in 3 months. Everyone's different. Everyone has their own methods of learning, and they learn at a different pace. So don't get discouraged by that. Now, that being said, me looking at all these different courses, I kept jumping around from course to course, tutorial to tutorial, book to book, and I was never really finishing them. I kind of, half-assed them and just moved on to the next one once I was 50% done with one of them, and I never got the full experience of that course and never really finished it through. So this is also a guide to have you find the resource or the tutorial that works best for you and stick to it. That's kind of my goal here, is to narrow down your choices and make sure you're not jumping around getting stuck in quote unquote tutorial hell. Also, that being said, with you not being stuck in tutorial hell, I can almost guarantee you that you will learn these basics a lot faster and not get too confused when new concepts come up, because you're going to get differing opinions and things like that when you jump around from tutorial to tutorial. Hopefully it provides you a good roadmap and path for you to follow as you go on your journey to becoming a front-end developer. I also wanted to make sure that these resources were catered to all different types of learners. Like I said, everyone learns very differently and has their own preferred methods as far as how they learn better. So some of them are visual learners and more hands-on people, where they need to be actually coding the projects and doing it themselves, or watching someone do it and coding along. Whereas there are the more traditional learners, where they like to read, they have a high retention rate, so they can pick up a book, read it, and pretty much walk away with a good amount of knowledge from whatever section that they just read, along with the note taking and things like that. So some of these resources are going to be catered to you, and you need to be a little self-aware as to how you learn best, what your strong suits are. If you're a visual learner, then obviously videos are going to help. If you're more traditional, then docs and reading is going to be your go-to choice. So be a little bit self-aware, choose what you want, choose what helps you the most. But without further ado, let's get into the resources. So first things first, that's on my list is going to be FreeCodeCamp, and I pulled it up right here, and I have all the resources up here as well, with timestamps that I will also link, just in case you want to skip ahead and look at different resources. So FreeCodeCamp is probably one of the biggest resources that I used when I first started coming up. It's free. Like I said, I will iterate that again. It is free. You don't need to pay for anything. All you need to do is make an account, and you can sign up through Google, Gmail, GitHub, whatever. And as you can see here, there are different certifications and different paths that you can take to get started, not only as a front-end developer, but it also takes you through all the way through the end with some back-end stuff, some information security, and even prepares you for the coding interview. All of this is for free, which is amazing. So off the bat, you have a free resource for you to use that can realistically make you a front-end developer and get you a job. Which is insane. And for anybody who's a newbie or is looking to career switch from something, this is an amazing resource for you to use on your off time, on your lunch break, after work, things like that. It's not intrusive. There's no videos or anything like that. They are text tutorials, and as you can see, there are all these different sections. They check mark you to show your progress. And it just goes, the list goes on and on. It goes from all the basics of, responsive web design all the way into JavaScript and then front-end libraries such as React and Redux, Sass, Bootstrap, jQuery, on and on and on. And like I said, it has some back-end stuff, so you see that you're going to be using Node and Express, and then databases like MongoDB and Mongoose. So you're going to be doing everything with this. So this is one of the best resources that I could recommend. Did I also mention that it's free? FreeCodeCamp also has their own YouTube channel too. So not only do they have these in text forms for some of the more traditional people, but they also have videos, tutorials on different concepts and also building projects so you can follow along, which is great. So I highly recommend FreeCodeCamp regardless of whether you use their website or their YouTube channel. Second thing that's going to be on my list is Udemy. Udemy is one of my most used resources aside from FreeCodeCamp. When I was first beginning, Udemy, for me, like I said, everyone's different in terms of their learning. I am more of a visual hands-on learner, so videos work best for me, and I noticed that. So that being said, Udemy has some of the best courses and some of the best instructors out there that you can learn from, and I have learned and benefit from so many of them through their courses. As you can see up here, it's not just development, it's also business, IT, office productivity, personal development, design, marketing, health and fitness, and even music. So you can literally learn anything on Udemy and benefit the most. The one thing I will say is that this is not free. You may find some free resources or courses on the website itself, but they may not be up to par with some of the paid ones. Also, that said, with them being paid, you can see that Udemy always has some of these deals that bring the course, most of, if not all of the courses, down to $9.99, which is a great price for everything. And that I just realized everything was $9.99, so I might just actually buy something right now because I've been looking. But Udemy always has these. Otherwise, their courses going from $189, $149, $129, which is pretty expensive. Obviously less cheap than going to college or taking some boot camp, but my recommendation would be to wait for the deals to come. Come back when, if your course is not on sale, then just wait. You'll have a coupon code come out, or Udemy will have these deals where their courses will be sold for $10. So definitely always wait for these deals to come up. But as you can see, I have a ton of courses that I have taken and still need to go through. But there's everything from React, web developer boot camps, Node.js, HTML, CSS, advanced CSS and Sass, Node, if I didn't say that already. There's a GitHub course. There's even React Native, Swift, and Flutter that I've been planning to take. So as you can see, Udemy is probably my number one recommended resource, even if it's not number two. These aren't ordered in any certain way in terms of a hierarchy. So they're just numbered as a list for reference. So, but Udemy for me is my number one resource to learn from by far. Some of the people that I recommend as far as professors are going to be Stephen Gritter, Brad Traversy, Jonas Schmetman, I think that's how you say his name, Andrew Mead, and the Net Ninja for some basic and more advanced web development or front-end development things. Dr. Angela Yu is also very good in terms of mobile development, but she also does have a web development course, and I believe those are going to be my top guys. Yep, those are going to be my top guys to learn from. But Udemy, highly recommend it. If you have $10, you can learn something new. Very easy, very fast, and also very effective. The other thing that is also a benefit to these Udemy courses is that you actually walk away with practical projects that you can put on your portfolio that help you get a job. A lot of these courses are very hands-on, like I said, so you're going to be building these projects that pertain to the certain subject that you're learning. So if you're in JavaScript, you're going to be building things in JavaScript that you can actually put on your GitHub and use as a portfolio. So, things like dice games, Magic 8-Ball stuff, to-do lists, things like that. Again, they may seem very simple, but it's something that you can show that you actually did and that you have practical experience building things with the language. My third recommendation is actually going to be books. So take this with a grain of salt and know that books are not are not, and in my opinion, I need to say that's in my opinion, they shouldn't be used as main source of information. I feel like they're great for supplementation and reference in your stack of resources. So some of the books that I recommend are things like HTML and CSS by John Duckett, or Eloquent JavaScript. I can't say his name, but Eloquent JavaScript, if you look it up, I just bumped the mic. You can find these books online, purchase them. I know that the HTML and CSS book is usually only a paperback or hardcover. Eloquent JavaScript you can actually find for free. It's got an interactive UI on the web version of the book. Like I said, it's free. So for the most part, books are going to be paid for, but you can find some of these resources for free. Again, this goes back to the point where this is going to be more for your traditional learner, where they benefit more from just reading these things. They like to be in silence or play music and, just kind of read these things through, mark them down, and things like that. And they have high retention, so they can take away most of the knowledge from each section that they read. But like I said, these should be supplementational and not be used as a main source of information. I feel like you could benefit a lot more from things like FreeCodeCamp or Udemy courses, where most of the content is going to be a lot more up to date, a lot more interactive for you to kind of play around with and visually see, how to use the language. My next recommendation, which is going to be number 4, is YouTube channels / tutorials. So as you can see, as I pulled up here, one of the people that I actually follow and watch a lot of videos on is from Fireship. He's got a amazing channel going on where he has these in 100 second series where he explains to you some of the different concepts and different things you should know in a very short amount of time, to be more specific, in 100 seconds. So he's got a great channel. Another person that I really love is the Net Ninja. He is amazing. He's got some awesome content, and honestly, I have to say, out of all the people that make tutorials on YouTube, for me specifically, he actually just makes the most sense. He explains things very concisely and very clear. He may go a little fast, but again, it's not a problem because the content that he has actually just helped me so much understand things. And he's now coming out with, some TypeScript tutorials. I swear this man does not sleep. Like, he comes out with tutorials every time. Like, there's always something from him, but it's amazing. So you can see here, he's got a lot of stuff: HTML and CSS crash course, modern JavaScript, Flutter, complete React, Redux, and Firebase, and the list goes on and on. You can learn almost everything you need to know from this man. The next person that I would recommend is Traversy Media, 100%. He's got some amazing content, and I can't recommend him enough. I mean, he's well credited. He's got everything you need to know, and even some other side things in terms of, mental health or how to freelance and things like that. So there's all those kinds of things that he makes content about that you can benefit from. And not to mention, these things are free. The one problem I will say about using YouTube is that it's going to be full of all these different channels and different resources that you can use. So it's easy to get, in this black hole of different people and different tutorials that you use. So I'm going to link some of the channels that I recommend down in the description that you should follow, so I can narrow down your choices and see who benefits you most. But feel free to go out and find different channels to follow if none of these click for you. But just know that it's very, very easy to fall into the tutorial hell on YouTube just because of the sheer volume of content that you can consume there. My next recommendation, coming in at number 5, I feel like this is like a game show. This is like coming in at number 5, but number 5 is going to be documentation. So the docs, free, very, very useful, and it's coming from the team that maintains actively these languages that we use. So JavaScript, you have Firefox MDN, but in terms of good documentation that I've run across, one of them being Gatsby.js, which is a framework built on top of React, which in turn uses JavaScript. So they have some of the best documentation that I've ever seen. Very, very concise, very, very straightforward, with some visual aspects to it, which help me and a lot of other people who need that visual aspect but also like to read. So it fits both those categories in terms of whether you're a traditional or very visual learner. The other one being React docs. So again, I have a bias towards React, obviously, since I use it, but this is just for example. If you're using Vue, Angular, or if you need documentation on CSS, HTML, JavaScript, there's a bunch of websites out there for you to use that are also free that you can refer to. That being said, again, this should be used as supplementational information. This should not be used as your main source. Although the docs are good, they're going to be some of the most up-to-date versions of information that you can get. But again, this should not be your main source of learning something. This should be supplemented with a tutorial or a course that you're taking, whether that be FreeCodeCamp or Udemy or YouTube. But the docs are also very nice when you are stuck on something. For example, in React, if I don't know how to render a component and I need to know, what to do, I can refer to the docs and it'll show me how I can get my component rendered and displayed onto the virtual DOM. So clarification, whether you get stuck, it's good for these kinds of things because it shows you directly on how to do these things. Next resource coming in at number 6 is going to be actually Medium or Dev.to. In this case, I'll show you Medium just because I have it up already. These are going to be articles that are written from some of the most amazing authors and published on these publications that help you kind of find what you're looking for in terms of information. But these are great for, learning about different things, different concepts, but also learning some more specific things within the framework or language that you're learning. For example, JavaScript, you can see here JavaScript mistakes, things we shouldn't put into our code. Very, very specific and simple article that you can use, and you can always go through these publications. In this case, Level Up Coding. You can follow out and, see what other authors are posting to that publication and see what other content you can consume there. Keep in mind, this is for the free, but a lot of the good articles are published on these publications that are also a part of the Medium partner program. So you can only read them if you're paying for a membership. So keep that in mind. But Medium and Dev.to. Dev.to is free, and actual developers are posting blog posts on there showing you how to do these things or explaining a certain concept and visually showing you through images. So in my opinion, Dev.to might be the better choice here aside from Medium. But again, articles and blog posts are really, really nice to get a perspective from an actual developer themselves on a certain topic. So yes, you're getting a very subjective view on something, but I think it's beneficial for anyone to learn from because you could pick their brain a little bit and see how they go about a certain method or, how they solved a certain problem and see what other angle they saw it from rather than yours. So that's just my recommendation, and this is going to be another good supplementational resource for you to use alongside your actual main course or tutorial that you're taking. Next one, that's number 7, is going to be Codecademy. So Codecademy is going to be similar to FreeCodeCamp. It's free for the most part, but they do also have a pro membership that you can purchase, which also unlocks things like their skill paths or their career paths, where you essentially have all the courses that they have, which you can see here on the catalog. You can see all these courses. Some of these if they don't say pro, they're free, which is great because a lot of these are essential and they're also free. But if you get the pro version, you can see here they have skill paths and they also have career paths, which essentially bundle a lot of their courses together and create this roadmap for you to follow that guides you through these things in a chronological order that makes sense, so that you can kind of learn everything, learn the basics, but also learn them in a certain rhythm so that everything sort of makes sense instead of jumbling you around. So it's great for beginners, especially because, they kind of funnel you through this curriculum that's very simple and laid out, and it's very, very easy to understand. The other great thing about Codecademy is that they have everything built in for you. So for example, I'm taking the web development course right now, and as you can see here, they have, the learn section, and they also have the diagram section where they show you these different things. But if you go over and you're actually learning from the course, what they give you is also a built-in IDE. So for fresh beginners just getting started, you don't need to download an IDE. You really realistically don't need to download anything. You just need to go onto the browser, sign up, make an account, and off you go. You can literally get started and coding right off the bat, which is great. It's not intimidating at all. They give you everything you need very interactive, and this is going to be for the learners that are more visual and hands-on, but also cater towards the traditional side where, you know, off to the left you have these explanations of everything you need to know of that topic, and they even show you these nice diagrams and examples of what they do. So caters towards everybody. I want to say this is one of my top recommendations of resources for anyone that's looking to get into it and you're freshly new. Start with Codecademy, because I actually really do love their platform. Caters towards everybody, and it's very, very easy to learn on it. So go ahead and check out Codecademy if you guys are looking for something like that. My next and last resource that I would recommend is going to be Stack Overflow. Now, this is one of the most powerful resources that you can use that is on the web right now. I will, and honestly every developer can agree with me on this, they have and always use Stack Overflow when it comes to running into problems and needing to solve a very specific problem. So the thing that Stack Overflow is a public Q&A where you can go in and browse different questions and see problems that people are actually having in the real world. They'll go in, post different problems that they're having, and people can go in and answer and see if they can help each other solve this issue. The nice thing about it is, you know, when you're creating your projects, when you're going out and making things, you're going to be running into issues and you're going to get stuck. The nice thing about this is that, you know, someone in the world has most likely run into the same issue that you're having right now. So Stack Overflow is one of the most powerful things that you can use in your stack of resources to, you know, refer to when and if you get stuck. And it doesn't limit itself to any certain language. You know, everything, literally everything is on here. So one of the main skills that you need to develop as a front-end developer, and a developer or engineer in that matter, is Googling things, because we're not going to know everything. We will not know everything. We're all going to have strengths. We're all going to have weaknesses, and someone has a strength that is your weakness, and it's going to be shown here on Stack Overflow. Use this, get the skills to Google your problems and find it on Stack Overflow, because it has already been answered, and you can really, really get by a lot faster than trying to figure it out yourself if you spend too much time on a problem. So definitely learn how to use Stack Overflow. It's free. You don't need to do anything. You can make an account if you want to, but everything should be open to you. You realistically only do need to make an account if you want to post questions and things like that. But those are going to be my top resources that I personally recommend for anyone who's looking to get into the front-end development world. All of these are going to be posted down in the comments, and like I said, they're going to be time-stamped so that you can go back and refer to some of these, or you can skip ahead and, you know, go to the resources that you think you're more interested in already. Now, my tips and recommendation to go through this list is to kind of play around and see what works for you best. Like I said at the very beginning, everyone is a different kind of learner. So you may be visual and more hands-on where you need to build things, or you're more traditional and you like to just read and do it on your own and apply what you learn through books and documentation and things like that. Or you're a mix of the both. So you need to be self-aware. You need to be very, very self-aware about yourself and understand your weakness or your strengths in terms of learning and how you can better comprehend and retain information. You know, go around through FreeCodeCamp, go around through the documentation, see what works for you, and, you know, narrow down what you use as your main source of information, and whatever your resource is going to be, stick to it. Once you figure out, you know, what your strong point is and what resource and what method you use to learn is the better way, put all your chips onto that, because that's going to be the best way for you to learn, and you need to just double down on that. Once you figure that out, then you're going to go through that tutorial, whatever you pick. For example, let's say you pick a course on Udemy. You're going to take it all the way through. You're going to finish it 100%. Rewatch whatever videos you need to. Do the projects that the professor has you do to its completion, and make sure you complete it. That's the main thing. After you build those projects and after you finish the course, my recommendation would also to be, you know, take that project that you learned and then build your own that's very, very similar to what you built in the course. Apply some of the knowledge that you just gained through that course. And this is where Stack Overflow comes in. If you get stuck on that project, try not to refer back to the tutorial, but Google the problem that you're having to see if Stack Overflow has the answer, because they most likely will, and go through the cracks that way. That's realistically the only way you get some practical experience of running into a problem and having to look it up and make these resources work with each other. Building these projects on your own will not only help solidify a lot of the concepts and methods that you've learned in the course, but it'll also actually help you put some of these projects onto your portfolio / GitHub, which looks great to recruiters or hiring managers that are looking for developers or junior developers. It shows that you actually have created some practical projects with whatever you've learned, and especially as a self-taught developer, it looks great. You've built these scalable things or these awesome little projects with this little framework or the language itself. It shows that you can build things. So it's nice that, in turn from doing these courses, you're also getting these usable projects for your portfolio. So I hope this helped you guys out and made it a little bit clear as to what ideas you have and what path you want to take to become a front-end web developer. As you can see, you have a lot of access to a lot of free information. Literally, it's free. If not free, then it's very, very cheap. Literally at most $10, and you can get by and actually realistically become a front-end developer for almost little to no money. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to take these boot camps that cost a couple $1,000s. You can learn and have a great education literally just going through FreeCodeCamp or YouTube tutorials. It's an abundance of information out there for you for the cheap. So there is no excuse to not become a front-end developer or make that career switch to becoming a developer. Which also leads me into my other point, is that don't blame these tutorials for you not becoming or progressing fast enough or faster. These tutorials don't work for you, they work with you. And if you're not working, then nothing's going to work. You really need to put in the hard work and the consistency for these tutorials to work for you. You will not progress if you're not willing to go and put in the hard work. And that's the problem that a lot of people have, is that they give up so fast because they feel like they're not progressing and they feel like they're not learning. You need to really take a step back and realize that it's not the tutorials that are failing you, it's yourself that is failing you, and you need to really put your head down and focus, because if not, then you're really not going to achieve your dream, and it might not be for you. So you need to be self-aware in that as well and figure it out, because without hard work and consistency, none of this is going to happen, and your dreams and aspirations need to change, because if you're not willing to put in the work, then you're not going to get what you want. So thank you guys for watching. I really, really do appreciate you checking out the video and supporting me throughout, the couple months that I've been doing YouTube. It's been an awesome journey so far. So if you guys have any feedback or questions or any kind of comments, please let me know down below. Like the video, subscribe, because it really, really does help me out a lot. You guys can check out the links below for any of these resources. You also can check out my setup gear down below. That'll all be linked, but also check out my other social media that's linked down there as well. Hit me up on Instagram or Twitter. You always have direct connections with me there. So if you have any specific questions, you can ask me on IG or Twitter. See you guys on the next one. Peace.